We now bring you something amazing. Science! Hey everybody, how's it going? Let's see here, which way do I move it? There! Hello! Alright, so, I've got Martial Arts Journey up here on the thing, and I want to show you a very short clip while also telling you to go visit these sites. It's, nothing's being paid for here. Nothing, this is all just me talking. And I want to show you this. This is what it says. 6 martial arts experts locked with a knife attacker. I'm going to spoil the ending. None of them win against the knife attacker. And that's kind of why I wanted to talk about this. It was exactly why I wanted to talk about this. I say kind of, but it is exactly why I wanted to talk about this. Now, I want you to pay attention to, you see my little mouse here. Pay attention. This is the knife attacker, and that's the martial art expert. Knife attacker has a marker, and he keeps dabbing and hitting the, to show where he struck the guy. Now, there are a couple things. You can see he already has several hits on him. I'm just going to go ahead and rewind it here. This is the current martial arts guy. And going into it, he already knows that he's not going to do well. And the reason why he knows is that he is a martial arts master, and he knows that there's a difference between katas in front, and sparring in front of other people, in front of a tournament, and getting in a fight with somebody who has a knife in an alleyway and whatever. So I want you to just see how quickly the knife attacker goes after him. I mean, the martial arts master knew that the first second that the knife hit him, right here, or, the knife did its job. See, as a defender in any sort of combat like that, you need to make sure that you don't get hit once. The knife attacker, he could, he could take a billion hits. Well, not a billion. He could take numerous hits to his head. Boom, 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 boom. And all he has to do is do this. Ooh, ooh, ooh. That's all he has to do. You think you're going to grab him and twist the hand? You might be able to. Knife attackers don't use a form for you to grab and pinch and to stop. That's the point, and this is the point of this whole thing. Look at this. Already maxed out here. This next martial arts master. So Sensei Seth. Sensei Seth. I love Sensei Seth, by the way. All these guys, look at this. 10 already. This is like within what? 20 or 30 seconds? By the way, visit Jesse Camp, Karate Nerd. Visit Sensei Seth. Visit the other guy too. The reason why I bring up Sensei Seth and Jesse is that these guys are some great guys. They go around and they examine different martial arts styles in a way that where, unlike so many other people in YouTube for so many years, they're not out to trash, insult, or whatever, any sort of style. And they do a pretty good job of explaining the problems with each style, like Sensei Seth talks about, he did a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu video. I'm not going to show it, but I want to show you that it exists. He entered a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament to prove it doesn't work. Now, that's like a clickbait title. Essentially, the concept of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is that you put a guy on the ground and you fight him while they're on the ground. So, he said all you have to do is get up and run away. All you have to do is stand up. And that's actually a key point in everything I'm talking about as far as self-defense. You can't hand fight a knife. A knife attacker is going to go after you like that. They're not going to do, ooh, fancy movements. Oh, no, they're going to go. And they're not going to stop until you're down. And so I'm built, you have to figure out a way to survive if you're attacked on the street. Sensei Seth, fantastic guy. I want you to look at his site so you see how cool and skilled this guy is, right? He talks about dealing with Muay Thai. He talks about sumo wrestlers. He talks about all this other stuff. Of course, he also kind of makes jokes, like his little scripted things from a couple of years ago. They were pretty funny. But he talks about strengths and weaknesses of each of these fighting things. But the key between these two, Sensei Seth and the Karate Nerd, is that they try and educate you on the limitations of martial arts and self-defense and all of that good stuff. And that's where going into martial arts or taking self-defense training of any kind is very important. Now, it may sound like I'm contradicting myself here. Well, Kevin, if martial arts masters can't stop a knife attacker, what do you mean it helps you learn self-defense? Because the true power of self-defense in martial arts is knowing what situations to fucking avoid. You need to know when to run, you need to know when to hold them, and you need to know when to fold them, right? And you need to know when to walk away, and when to run. And that's a fact. I hope I don't get copyright strike there. I'll fight it. Anyway, the whole point is you need to know when you're capable of fighting off attackers. And you need to know how to fight off attackers. So a key thing that martial arts teaches you is knowing when to fight, knowing when to run. And that's if you pay attention to the type of combat that you're being taught. And make sure you're only being taught by a real martial arts master, not that security guard who tries to teach you how to grab a gun away from somebody. A lot of people don't understand how quick and fast things go very bad, and how fast you can actually punch. How fast somebody can actually punch. Because people are used to watching movies. They think, oh, Bruce Lee is so fast, I can see his punches, and they're a flurry. Well, Bruce Lee punched so fast, and punches typically are so fast, they're not picked up on the camera. Not on a standard 24 frames per second. So many people who train in martial arts are told to punch a little bit slower on camera so people can see it, and yet you still think that's fast. And that's kind of the point. And a knife is just as fast with a fist, only it penetrates your body. It might take 5 or 6 punches to knock somebody out. It takes one stab to put you out. And martial arts teaches you to understand and read a situation to a point where you know, okay, I'm not going to piss this guy off, or I'm going to go ahead and run as fast as I can, etc. You know? And a great thing about martial arts is that when you're sparring, you're not just learning how to block a regular punch. And trust me, sparring is typically slower than an actual fight for a million reasons. I know from experience. And I don't know how to explain it other than if you don't know what sparring is, you need to do as much as you can to watch as many videos. And if you are in a dangerous area, if you live in a dangerous area, you're going to go into a dangerous area, or maybe you don't know if you will ever be in a dangerous area, but you want to prepare for a dangerous situation, you should try and find a self-defense course or a kung fu course or a karate course or a judo course where they spar. It doesn't have to be really hardcore sparring where you're getting punched in the face, right? But you should be in a situation where you learn how to control yourself while you've got adrenaline pumping through your body. A lot of people don't know, and it is not easy. It's something that people take for granted because they watch the movie and say, oh, I know how to do this because I saw the main character do that. You don't. Unless you're actually practicing on controlling yourself while you've got adrenaline pumping through your body. And the best way to do that is with a sparring session or maybe some high-octane sport, right? You know, if you learn how to control yourself, control your thinking, to focus while you've got all those chemicals surging through your body, telling you to be quick and active. If you do that, then you're actually preparing yourself. So this is how martial arts prepares you. Now, in my personal experience, and I'm not some sort of Jedi martial arts master. In fact, I'll do something that you'll never see me do again. I will show you. I've got a belly. Well, tiny little belly. I'm about 10 pounds overweight. Oh, look at these muscles. I'm hardly what anybody would call a combat master. But I will tell you that my dad insisted that, you know, because he actually knows quite a bit, that I learned how to defend myself. And surprisingly, I had to defend myself against him once or twice. And I was able to. I was able to because I knew how a fight functions. And I knew how to make sure I would not get hurt. Now, where I work, we have a pepper spray gun, much like this one. I think this is a pepper spray gun. Oh, maybe this isn't. No, this isn't a pepper spray gun. Where's a pepper spray gun? I'll search for one. Let's see here. But I'll just show you these self-defense. You know, we had a pepper spray over here. This is pepper spray. It's good enough. Pepper spray works. You know, in the movies, you see a guy spraying pepper and spray in his face and says, "Oh, it tastes so good." That's fucking bullshit. Pepper spray is an invasive chemical created from peppers because peppers are a plant that through millions of years developed a poison and a fibrous construct that would detour things from eating it. That's how peppers. That's why peppers exist. They're a deterrent. We, however, like to cook with them because we think we're humans and we're stupid, and we think, let me eat something that's painful. Yeah, right. That's basically the fact, right? Oh, hello, sweetheart, my little rescue kitty. This is what we're given. We're given pepper spray because pepper spray works. We are given a back room that's basically a crisis room. It looks like a regular office. The door shuts. It's steel. You can't break it down without a battering ram. Okay? And we're given these things because they work. Because they don't have mercy. You spray somebody in the face with a pepper spray, you're screwed. Or not you're screwed, but they're screwed, right? If you get sprayed, you're screwed. You're not going to get up and fight. If you try, you're going to be clumsy. It'll be real easy to knock you down, right? So if you're the defender, you spray the attacker with pepper spray, you can really nail them. And pepper spray is, it seems to be the choice over mace. And I think that's because mace causes a lot of health problems. There have been some people who've died from exposure to mace, is what I read. These things are all useful self-defense things. Now, this you're not going to be walking around with gloves like this cut-resistant glove made from Kevlar. You're not going to be walking around with a heart guard protective body shirt, right? If you are, people are going to look at you weird. An attacker may, however, wear this. An attacker may, however, wear this. An attacker may wear goggles. You see somebody with goggles coming up to you, don't stand around and wait for them. You know, if they look like they're going to, if they look like they're menacing, if they look like their body language is telling you, I'm going to hurt you, you get out of the way. Now, there are some other self-defense things, you know, that you can get a hold of. But I also wanted to show you things like these knives or these baseball bats, stuff like that. Tasers, even. Tasers sort of work. When tasers fail, when knives fail, when baseball bats fail, is when the attacker takes those things away from you. You know, it's like a statistic that the majority of people with handguns, when they're faced with an attacker, those guns wind up in the hands of the attacker. And there are two reasons for this. People who usually use weapons think that they, or have weapons for self-defense, think that they're suddenly invincible, and they don't practice with them. Or maybe they're nicer than the attacker, and they say, I'm going to give you a chance to get out of here. You can't. Once you expose a weapon, you have to use it. And if you don't think you can do that, do not purchase the weapon. Do not carry it on you. Because your attacker will take it and they will use it. So if you purchase a weapon and you're not prepared to use it, your attacker is. You're purchasing a weapon for your attacker. And that's just a fact. So pepper spray is the most comfortable weapon that people are able to purchase and use. These things that are the soft bullets, they are useless. I've never seen a successful report of them being useful. They hurt. They'll just piss the attacker off. This pepper spray, though, it will disable somebody. You hit it in the eyes. And let me tell you something. Pepper spray works because all you need is a little bit. All you need is a mist of that pepper hitting somebody's face, and it will find its way into an orifice that the attacker does not want in it, right? So self-defense works. Self-defense courses work. The other point of self-defense is that not everybody's a kung fu master. Not everybody's a karate master. You're not going to run into somebody to have some sort of grandiose fight. You're going to run into somebody who fights to win, which means they're going to cheat. The rules for competition are out of the window. There's no competition there. They're out to harm you, to obtain what is yours, to make it theirs. And that could be like a figurative speech. That could mean your life. They want to take your life. They want to take something else. Like, I don't know, they want to harm you to get some sort of pleasure from it. Or they want to take your money. They're not going to bow, raise their hands, and start fighting. They're going to jump at you like the video that I showed you. And they're probably going to have some sort of padding or whatever to protect themselves from you attempting to counterattack. And in terms of martial arts, that's probably the biggest disadvantage that anyone who knows martial arts can face. An attacker who is padded. An attacker with a knife who is padded is going to really screw you up. And I've seen police reports, public release police reports talking about an attacker who wore thick gloves or had like a long sleeve hoodie or something like that. The reason why is that attackers know that if you grab a pressure point, you can make them let go of their weapon. Well, if they got padding up to their arms or thick gloves, you're not going to find a pressure point through there. You're not going to do anything in a way that will help you. So that's why I say that if you're going to prepare yourself for self-defense, go take a martial arts course to learn how to control yourself, to learn how to read other people. Doesn't matter which one, as long as you're sparring. But you have to make sure that you take a course or several courses that offer these things. Hand and arm movement for defense. Leg movement. Kicking is effective. Now, if somebody has padding and you kick somebody, if you know how to kick, you can knock them back 4 to 5 feet. That's 4 to 5 feet of time that you have to get out of there. You kick somebody, you go. If you can trip somebody, you do it and you go. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is really only good if you are put on the ground. You have to wrestle on the ground. You have to get them in a position where they are not able to force you to submit to them. You don't have to force them to submit. You just have to put them in a position where you can stand up and they can't, or it takes them longer to. So let me go through what I think is very effective. Judo is very effective. It's been effective for quite a while. I mean, when was it created? Let's see here. Let's look this up. Mid 1800s. So it's been effective for about 150 years. And it allows you to understand how to throw somebody. That's effective. You throw them, you get out. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I just described this. Somebody puts you on the ground, you get out of whatever lock that they're forcing you into, you get up and you run away, if possible. If they've got a knife to you, you need to know how to somehow get the knife away from you and get up and run away. Now, there's a martial, people call it a martial arts. It was actually created by this guy, Barton Wright, for the modern man and the modern woman. He went around getting help from masters of different things, jiu-jitsu, savate, which is a French kickboxing, well, more like French fencing with feet. So it's different than kickboxing. It's more like fencing with feet. He tried to get different, elements of judo, and there are a couple other elements in there too. His whole point was boxing. His whole point was to teach people how to throw a punch, throw a kick, trip, throw the enemy, get up from being in a prone position, and leave. Essentially, that's what he was trying to create. And, because you've got wrestling, you have fencing, everything. Fencing with a walking stick. As some people say, well, it's a useless form. It's not useless. It's form for self-defense. And self-defense means you use whatever means you can to get out of a bad situation. Karate, karate teaches you all sorts of things. To throw, to kick, to punch, to block. Any one of these things can be used to push your opponent away, put your opponent in a disadvantage so you can leave. Wing Chun. This in particular has saved my life. I didn't know I was being taught Wing Chun. When I watched the video, I said, oh, this is what I learned. This is what helped me prevent somebody from beating my head in. Hey, it worked. Now, I keep stressing the fact that when you are doing martial arts, you're in a dojo. You're learning a safe way to learn how to control your body when you're super excited. And let's see, 28 minutes. So I should probably hang this up. So yeah, you are learning a lot of tools. You're learning how to compete. You're learning how to, throw a punch, take a punch, etc. But when you're out there in the real world, your opponent does not play by rules. Your goal is to do all of the things that you're taught not to do in a dojo. Like, don't really go after their throat or their eyes or whatever. You have to learn how to keep your opponent away from you and to get to safety. Even if you think you could take the person down, unless you're absolutely certain they don't have a weapon, unless you're absolutely certain you can negotiate the situation with your body to a way where they are immobilized, run. Just run. Figure out a way to get out of there. Figure out a way to disable them. Figure out a way to get a hold of the authorities. Figure out a way to make sure that there is somebody there to assist you. Don't stay in a dangerous situation. And I say that because I see some martial arts people that say, oh, no, this is how you stop a knife when it's at your throat. Don't let the knife get to your throat. The number one way to prevent or to get out of a situation where a knife is pointed at you and is stabbing at you is to not be in that situation. You see somebody who looks like they're coming in a wrong way, in a wrong fashion, they're walking a wrong way, maybe they've got some sort of intent behind them, you get out of that situation. If necessary, you harm them. Now, I am going to go over some things that don't really work. I already kind of went over the fact that attackers will often pad themselves. Don't count on being able to grab somebody's wrist, like this, to pinch them, to make them drop a weapon. Don't count on that. Don't count on kicking someone in the groin, no matter how hard you kick. Because if they're running on adrenaline, and they usually are, attackers usually pump up their adrenaline before going after you. You will hurt them, but the adrenaline will help them ignore the pain. They will go after you. Maybe they'll feel a little bit of a pain and they'll make them even more pissed off. You don't know if they're on drugs. You don't know their state of mind. You don't know their state of body. Now, thankfully, I haven't been in a situation where I had too many weapons pointed at me. But I have been in a situation a couple times where I had to put someone on the ground. And what you need to remember is that attackers will try to do anything they can to make themselves look like a victim to other people, but make you their victim. Don't get baited into a fight. Somebody drives away from you or moves away from you. Like, let me give you an example where I work. A guy was yelling and screaming at my manager, claiming that we stole a $7,000 ring. My manager threw some expletives back at the guy. The guy was unruly, and my manager got pissed off. Now, he fully in his right, but if you really want to control the situation, you need to make sure you don't go off into that area. Even if you feel justified, even if you're legally justified, the fewer times you step over even a justified line, the better you look overall for the authorities. Either way, it's all right. My manager would, I probably would have yelled at the guy too. Probably would have said the same things my manager said. It's easy to talk about keeping in control when your blood's not rushing to your head about somebody who's saying some really nasty things about you at your place of work, right? Guy jumped into his car, drove off in the street, then jumped out and said, "Come on." Had my manager stepped out off of the property to attack that guy, my manager suddenly would have been the aggressor. My manager stayed on the property as he should have and called the police. A few years ago, and obviously we didn't steal the ring. This guy was just, he lost the ring, was nowhere near the property. Guy was just trying to, and that's why he tried to egg on a fight, was so that he could file a claim against us and try to pursue us in court for damages, because he knew that he didn't leave the ring there or anything else. We've got nice security everywhere, security cameras. A long time ago, some stupid teenagers were yelling at my mom. My mom told them, behave properly. Guy came over to attack me. Stupid little kid. This is one of the times where I'm unable to leave the situation, or a person is coming at me fast enough. My mom is there. I have to stay there because the guy could have turned around, stupid little 14-year-old could have turned around and started punching my mom in the face. Don't ask me. Like, my mom was unable to, run or move. We were moving away anyway, so he was pursuing us. Mom couldn't run. So there are times where you can't run. Guy stood up to me, started swinging everything around. This is a very effective trick. It's a beginner trick. I put my foot between his legs, hand on his chest. I've got at least a foot in height off of him. All I did was lean into him. Not punch, not anything else. Step forward, hand on chest, lean into him. His balance was so off, just from the perception of me leaning. You know the optical illusion? Where you, if something looks like it's leaning, you suddenly go, whoa. That's the visual effect that I put onto him. And I also put on my own weight. So he went down like a sack of potatoes because his equilibrium was off. His mind wasn't processing it. He was full of, adrenaline. He tried to use his coat as a weapon. In fact, I think he actually smacked my mom in the mouth with his stupid coat. So there are times where you have to do something. But once I put him on the ground, I had to ensure he was on the ground. Now, this is where legalities come into play. If somebody is disabled, you don't pummel them. There's a good chance that you would be arrested. Especially me, this stupid kid, 14 years old. I mean, yeah, he could have easily been put into jail. So the first thing I say, I'm not hurting him. He attacked me. He has to calm down. Calm down. Stop screaming. Calm down. While holding and making sure that he can't attack. That is another method of self-defense. It defends you from any potential attackers that might see you beating up on somebody. As long as you're not pummeling them, as long as you're not harming them, as long as they attack you, you are legally, socially, and possibly physically being protected by saying those words. And I want to make sure that, in this video, this 40-minute video now, that anybody who's watching this understands how to protect themselves, what to pursue when protecting themselves. Go to a martial arts course you like. Let me give you some strengths. Let me go back over these. Wing Chun. You use your arms as blocks. It's kind of like how boxers do this or this. You're using your arm to block attacks on you. Karate. You learn how to strike back. You learn how to kick with intent. It's a perfectly fine sport. It also teaches you fundamentals. You really only need to learn fundamentals in order to learn how to defend yourself in a real situation. Because real life situation, you're not going to be fighting somebody who bows. Like I said, they're not going to bow to you. They're going to go after or attack you. Bartitsu. This is just this is a conceptual form of self-defense, where it incorporates things from several different forms of martial arts. It's very low practice, not too well known. But, a lot of people, they go there just for interaction. But even interaction when you're sparring will help you learn how to control your adrenaline. So even if you don't learn anything effective, although there are effective martial arts in Bartitsu, Savate is an effective martial art. It's been around for a while. It's based off of fencing. You're literally fencing with your feet. It is a fantastic martial art. Jiu-Jitsu, again, it's been around for a while. Teaches you throws. Teaches you how to how to wrestle while you're on the ground. Wrestling teaches you how to wrestle on your ground. When you're locked in a wrestle, though, you don't want to stay there unless you have to. Like the situation I described. I had to stay there with my hand on his chest. My hand did slip up to his neck. I immediately adjusted my hand to his chest. Said, I'm sorry. Are you okay? Well, you don't say you're sorry. I didn't say I'm sorry either. Never put yourself in that situation. I said, are you okay? I'm trying to keep you on the ground. Do not get up. The guy realized I wasn't going to physically harm him. His sister realized that too. She said, stop, stay down, stop moving. I said, I'll get up. He can't be attacking me or my mom. And for the record, that's right. The reason my mom was telling him to calm down was because they were harassing one of the geese for the lake. They were causing the goose some problems, and animal rights stuff. Telling him, hey, stop it, stop being stupid. That's when he went nuts. And mom was fully in the right. That idiot was harassing an animal. Stand up for the animal. Anyway, this will, if you've got a competent teacher, Bartitsu, Bartitsu is also a state of mind, right? You could go to boxing, you can go to jujitsu, you can learn like some sort of fencing for cane fighting, and you learn some sort of martial art like karate or savate, and you essentially learn Bartitsu. Because you know how to defend yourself. This martial art is literally a state of mind, right? You learn these things, you learn this. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like I said, learn how to wrestle, learn how to stand up. You stand up, they're on the ground, you've already got one over them. Judo, throw them on the ground. Learn how to break out of grapples. This is how you learn how to defend yourself. This is how you learn how to move and get out of the way. And these things, make sure that you know how to use these things. Don't buy into this crap like the tactical pen. That's stupid. Pepper spray? Yeah, it works. It works against bears. You have to use it. And I'll leave you with one last thing. School, right? Just thinking on your feet, right? Guy was coming after me. He ran faster than I ran. He was a little prick. So when I knew he was at his full speed and he was yelling at me, I'm going to beat you into the ground, I literally stopped and dropped. Just went from here to here, stuck my foot out. He went flying 3 feet. He was going faster than me, and he wasn't prepared for me to stop and trip him. Then I got up. Then I went to the teacher. He got suspended for 2 weeks. That's a school situation. But it also applies in real life. Somebody is chasing you. Like I said before, you need to know when to walk. You need to know when to run. You also need to know when to stop. And if, you manage to do what I did, imagine if this was a situation where a mugger was chasing me. I was running. He's running faster. Drop. Stick my foot out. Same situation. That mugger would have flown 3 feet face first into the concrete. If it were a mugger in the street. It wasn't. We were kids. It was on grass. But physics works. Same thought works. Use your head. Know what your capabilities are. Do as best as you can to judge the capabilities of your attacker. Use what you can to remove yourself from danger. Don't keep yourself in danger unless absolutely necessary. Make sure that you are more capable than the other person. Like that stupid little kid swinging his thing around, hit mom in the mouth, harassing a goose. Terrible kid. Went over to attack me. Simple movements gave him imbalance. He went down like a sack of potatoes. Sister came over. I made announcements. I'm not hurting him. I want him to stop. He needs to stop. Things resolved. Learn what you can. But I guarantee you, in the real world, it's not going to be a martial arts fight. It's going to be a literal fight for your life. Dirty tricks are going to be used, and you need to know how to circumvent them. You need to know how to survive. You need to know how to get away. That's my little stream. I hope that anybody who watches this about self-defense, I hope you understand what I'm saying. I hope you visit those people that teach martial arts and everything else. I highlighted their accounts because they basically say the same thing. When you're in a street fight, you are not going to be able to rely on rules. The more you stay within the law when you're in a street fight or in a dangerous situation in the real world, yeah, that is a street fight. The more you stay within the legal limitations, the safer you'll be on a number of levels. I hope you have a wonderful day and take care.